We're going to be moving into our last panel discussion for this track on the topic Future of AI Industries at Transformation Cusp. Engage with industry leaders on how AI is being implemented today to drive growth while addressing concerns about bias and data privacy. I'd like to invite our panelists onto the stage. I request you to please give them a warm welcome. We have with us Yash Dayal, Chief Technology Officer from WakeFit. Sridevi Vadapalli, Chief Data Scientist, Daimler Truck Innovation Center, India. Shweta Sharma, Senior Engineering Manager, Intuit Inc. And moderating this session is Akanksha Singh, Software Engineer from Intuit Inc. I'd like to request Akanksha to introduce our panelists to us, and it's over to you.
Software developer at Intuit. Since industry is changing, there are a lot of concerns and questions. I would be addressing this and passing out the questions to our panelists. So let's get started with the introduction. So first we have Shweta Sharma. She is a software engineering manager at Intuit, focusing on building customer solution using AI and driving innovation. Previously, she has worked on Intel, Microsoft in various roles and capacity. Additionally, she even co-founded her startup called iHind. She has showcased her insight at various events, like recently she went to Grasshopper conference. And I'm deeply influenced by her career journey, which even included a career break. She is devoted to supporting women re-entering the workforce using platforms like LinkedIn, and they're advocating the diversity in the team. So let's get welcome Shweta Sharma. So next we have, so next we have Sridevi Vadapalli. She is working as a chief data scientist at the Daimler Truck Innovation Center. She has an experience across retail, BFSI, finance, and automobile domain. Her experience include building data and AI competency center and building impactful business solution using AI. She is passionate about data science and an AI evangelist. Please welcome her. Yeah. Now we have on the board is Yash. She's Yash Dayal. He's working as a Chief Technology Officer for WakeFit. He is responsible for executing the technology vision for the WakeFit along with building the highly rich and personalized experience for customer. Prior to WakeFit, he was the head of engineering at Zepto, and he has worked in Zivame. In Zivame, he has worked with non-traditional leadership team, which has high representation of women. So let's get welcoming. Now, to kick off our discussion, now we keep hearing these terms like AI, Gen AI, ML, but these terms are often being used interchangeably. Now I want to ask Shweta to please give an overview, like what are these terms, and to kick off our discussion.
First of all, thank you, Akanksha, for having us here, and thank you, everyone, for attending the session. Really appreciate it. And it's a wonderful question on what exactly is AI and Gen AI means. We are all talking about all these different terms. In simple layman language, AI is the things which human can do and computer can do as well. Gen AI is made out of two words, Gen and AI. Gen stands for generative, and AI we all know. What does it mean is the computer can do much more based on the data given to it, right? And how we can leverage it, we can train or we can tell the computer using the audio, video, text, and whatnot. We hear a lot of buzzwords, right? Prompt engineering, supervised learning, unsupervised learning. I'll just shed a light on these keywords. When we want to use the AI or generative AI, how do we do it? We do it through the prompt engineering. When you get better with the prompts, the process of asking the questions through the Gen AI is the prompt engineering basically, and you get better with the prompts, you get better with the technology also. The supervised learning and unsupervised learning can be understand in terms of when you have a baby, you train a baby, you tell him or her, say papa, mama, walk, sit. This is all called supervised learning. But when baby is learning, are yaar, chalte hai, the slangs we use every day, that is all unsupervised learning. The Gen AI can tell you what to do, what not to do. It can also tell you how to rob a bank, but it does not, because we have trained the model in a way that it knows what it can tell and what it cannot. Now I use the keyword model. We use the word LLM. LLM is nothing but a child which you have prepared with the data who can answer you in your language. ChatGPT is one of the example of LLM. And then when you correct your child, you tell him this is not the right way to do it. That is what is called reinforcement learning. So now you know all these terms in the layman language, what exactly Gen AI is. It is not such a big, I can say in Hindi like hawa, what we all imagine in our head, but actually it is a very simple term which all can use it in our day-to-day.
Wonderful. You had explained it into and broken down into very simpler words. I like that. And so now, since we all know like what are these terms, now let's dive in like how these technologies are shaping our future. Since we have an expert from every industry, I would like to hear your views into like how it's shaping our future. Let's start with Sri Devi.
Sure. So I think we've been adopting AI even without knowing that we are using it in our daily lives. But the future holds more in terms of what AI will look like. So a couple of years from now, you shouldn't be surprised if you have a drone delivering items to your house instead of a human. So that is something you can look forward to. In healthcare, I'm sure all of you have heard about the Neuralink that Elon Musk is attempting. So there is a great use of AI that you can have in terms of helping patients, especially with paralysis or other neurological disorders, to use AI in a good way to help them live their daily lives. And having come from the automotive world, I can tell you that you will hear a lot about autonomous vehicles. That is going to be soon a reality. How it shapes up and to what extent it kind of becomes a reality is going to be an evolution. Because it's not easy to have an autonomous situation on the road solved through just machines. When you have somebody crossing the road, very intuitively a human knows that you do not want to get into an accident situation, or you can just, with a gesture of your hand, ask the pedestrian to cross the road. But imagine a situation in future where you only have vehicles, which essentially means there is no driver signaling the pedestrian to cross the road. So you have to have technology where cars talk to each other, which is not simple. Apart from looking at all the objects on the road, the traffic lights, the pedestrians crossing, the cycle coming in, or the dogs and the cats walking around, it's also important for two vehicles to talk to each other so that they don't have an accident situation. And then comes in the situation where how do you deal with morality in such accidents, right? Who is responsible because there is no driver? You cannot sue anybody because there is no driver. So all of these are going to be the future state of how AI will evolve. And also in autonomous industry, you'll hear a lot about industry 5.0. So we lived in the era of industry 4.0, where you had semi-automation of certain jobs in the production areas being done by automated machines. But industry 5.0 is something that has, I would say, a very nascent stage. It is going to evolve, and the way production will happen, any kind of production, not just automobiles, is going to change. It'll be a lot more automated, handled by AI, more than humans. So that is what you should look forward to as well.
Great. So I would like Yash to speak about the vision you see for the future of AI in the e-commerce sector. Do you see there would be any innovation forthcoming in these sectors since e-commerce is growing?
Hello, can you hear me now? Yeah, perfect. Uh, so I think on e-commerce, we're already seeing some changes that are happening. And again, extending to what Sridevi said, when you talk about Industry 5.0, some of that has started to come already in e-commerce. So for example, there's a company in China which is an e-commerce company called JD.com, and after you place an order, from that point onwards to delivering the order to your house, apart from the person in the truck who's going to come and give it to you, everything else, the entire warehousing, the entire picking, all of that is actually automated already. Then similarly, with Gen AI coming in, with more capabilities about voice bots, about chat bots, there'll be changes that are going to happen in how we deal with customer care. So a lot of that will be automated. In fact, I was reading a study yesterday that now, especially with chatbots, about 56% of the customers, they prefer speaking to a bot rather than speaking to an actual customer care agent. So that's going to increase going forward. So at least on e-commerce, I'm thinking that it's probably going to be fully automated, where more and more through the entire cycle, there'll be less and less manual operations, and everything will kind of happen in an automated manner. The other change which I think is going to happen is in terms of the products themselves. So we're actually seeing that a lot of products which were not smart are actually becoming smart. IoT is becoming more and more pervasive in our lives. So if you take the simple case of home lighting, earlier there used to be, you had like incandescent bulbs that switched to LED lights. And now almost everyone is actually buying a smart bulb, and you have full home automation. The same automation is going to extend now into other industries as well. To give an example, at Wakefit we've actually launched some sleep tech products. So these are products which are IoT enabled, which actually help you sleep better, make you more productive the next day. So we're going to see a lot more automation and a lot more smartness coming across, and AI being even more pervasive than what it is currently.
Great. Like, it's good to hear like there's so much innovation coming forward. Like, turning to you, Shweta, considering this advancement in the AI, how do you foresee the future of startup ecosystem? Do you see there would be an increase in number of startup based on the AI?
Yeah, sure. So I will throw some light on the numbers as you asked for numbers. If you see the US market in 2021, it was around $60 billion for the startups. And it is at the growth of CAGR of 40%, it is expected to grow by $430 billion by 2028. And if you talk about India market, the India market is expected to grow up to $7.8 billion by 2025 at the growth of CAGR 20%. And we have seen 20 times growth in the startup of India market so far, and we're going to see much more in terms of AI. And this data is all about AI, what I'm sharing. So if you look at this, and the Indian market and Indian society and everything is like, India is a developing country. We have so many use cases to solve. We have very innovative minds who always want to find a solution of the things, right? And looking at that, like Sridevi and Yash said, either it is automobile or e-commerce or anything else, we are going to see lot more growth in terms of the startups in India. This is going to be a next hub of the startups and India is going to be a very growing market in terms of the AI, as we are on top of the problem and top of the solutions.
Great. That means there are a lot of opportunities for in the startup sector, and we have to well prepare for that. Circling back to Sridevi, you mentioned like we are going with the AI advancement in the automobile sector, but I think it doesn't come without a challenge, especially there. Can you shed your light, like what are the challenges in this adapting AI in the automobile industries?
Sure. So there are some common challenges which not specific to automobile, but which will be common across all areas, would be data privacy. So I think all of us somewhere inherently have this fear that every click I make on the website is being tracked, somebody is using that information, and it's not so nice feeling. So there are going to be a lot of implications of data privacy, of how consumers perceive this world of AI. There is also going to be implications on the regulations. The more and more the consumer fears the data privacy aspects, the more and more will government intervene to be able to have more regulated policies around who uses your data and how they're going to use this data. So I think the biggest first challenge everybody is looking at is the data privacy. The second aspect of AI is ethical AI. It's hard to train a computer to say what is morally right and what is morally wrong. In fact, even in human, different races and different cultures have different definitions of morals. Imagine training a computer, this is right and this is wrong. And actually, there is no right and wrong in the world, right? Everything is situational, everything is subjective. Yeah. So it's going to be the toughest area to crack in terms of ethical AI. So I think in future, there is more and more focus in terms of ethical AI. You will also hear about global organizations coming up to define what is ethics in the world of AI. The third area of challenges that we'll all see, and this is not only for AI, this happens with any new technology or invention that happens in the world, is the misuse of AI, especially the deep fakes. We did hear about this person who seemed like the CFO of the organization and millions being taken away from the company. The person got fired from the job. So misuse of AI, deep fakes, is one of the biggest concerns that I think it's hard to crack, because there is always an evil use of, some people will tend to use it for evil. Even for warfare, there is AI being used, which is not a nice thing. And it can only be controlled by regulations and awareness around it. And the last thing, which I think has come because of Gen AI, is hallucination. So now it's hard to say the information that you're reading on social media, whether it's true or untrue. How do you differentiate that? Is it a fact? It is based from some authentic source? Or is it just made up by some generative AI by its creativity? So these are the 4 areas that will continue to be the focus in terms of the challenges. There are efforts being made to solve these, but it's a slow process.
Got it. Definitely.
I think I also want to add some more thing. There is also one very short-term challenge that is there especially for Indian companies and Indian startups. A lot of these models which are are specifically not very well built for our Indian languages and the nuances which India has. So even when you talk about voice bots, etc., even though these bots are able to respond in Hindi, you speak to them in Hindi or Indian languages, they actually, the way it works is they translate that whatever the person said into English, and then that gets pushed into the LLM models. And I think this is one thing which we have to work together, is to ensure that there is enough representation and there is enough training data to ensure that these LLMs are understanding our languages in a more native manner than what they are today.
Great. Definitely, the AI potential is very vast and it comes with challenges. And as you speak, Sridevi, about the ethics in the AI, obviously the data is the most crucial part of the AI, and we cannot ignore, and we cannot be, there should be some policies around it. So my question is to Yash. How can companies ensure that there is the AI algorithms and models that are free from bias and discriminations, especially in sensitive areas such as hiring, lending, and healthcare sectors?
I think the answer is kind of similar. The same things have to be done across the industry. I think the risks are the same. The only thing is that when you look at industries like healthcare or automobile, there the impact of AI algorithm hallucinating or giving wrong data can be substantially more than maybe like a recommendation engine probably giving you a different recommendation. When you look at how to ensure that there is no bias in these AI models, there are actually three things that you have to do. One is all your models you have to build in such a way, or all your algorithms have to be built in such a way that there is explainability. So whenever the model throws out a result, with explainability you can actually know what was the source data which was used, which was referenced to produce the result. And with that you can actually determine and course correct the model very quickly. The other one is to ensure that you have sufficient training data, and the training data is very genuine and accurate. So whenever you're doing training data, you have to ensure that all the data is validated, is accurate, because it's like a GIGO model, the garbage in, garbage out. So as long as you're putting the right things in, the model will do a lot better job. And the third one is diversity as well. So while you train the model on a small, you may train the model on a small subset of data, and the only time when the model starts to hallucinate is when it doesn't have enough source data, or it's not trained well on that particular domain or on that particular topic. So as long as you've given it enough data, the chances of the model hallucination will also be a lot lower.
I just wanted to add to that, but like the Amazon hiring issue happened. But the inherent problem that lies is our society had lived with certain biases, like women being less in workforce and being more housewives. Now you use the real data, and that feeds into the algorithmic bias as well, because that's the only data that you have, and you have to live with that.
Yeah.
So it's important to have a awareness that there is some things that society brings, and that data is now creeping into your algorithm. And unless you're aware of such things, it's hard to remove that bias, because you are saying, yeah, I took the real data and I'm doing the algorithm. How can it go wrong? But you are inherently capturing the bias of the society into the algorithm.
Great. Since it feels like there is a lot of things that needs to be done with the data, securing it, and making sure the customer data is private and theirs. So that means we need to make sure our workforce is ready for this adoption of AI. And since now it's a new thing, and Shweta, my question is to you. Since now AI is growing and we need to make our workforce ready, to prepare the workforce, what criteria do you use to identify the skills that will be most in demand as AI continues to grow and develop?
That's a wonderful question, actually. And especially just building on what she said, the bias is real and it is in society. And if the data is building on top of it, it is going to create the similar bias going forward. I think the problem solving is naturally, for the tech, if we talk about, you should be focused on the problem solving. But how that problem solving you are focusing on, I would suggest you start building the skills on AI, ML, data, and learning about all these skills, getting familiar with it, what is expected. You really don't have to be a big mathematician to solve all this, but getting to know using it in your Codium and Git Copilot. These are the tools who makes the life easy of a developer. Starting to use those will definitely be helpful. And of course, the adaptiveness, learning all these new tools, learning all these new technologies, and continuous learning will be the part of an engineer's life. It has been a part, but maybe there was a resting period earlier, 6 months, 10 months, then only the tech will change. But now with the AI in picture, I'm seeing three major pattern in the new generation which is coming up. Either there is a denial where we are saying, oh, I'm all good, I know that, I can do this, AI is not going to impact me. The second one is panic. There are people who are saying, oh, what should I do? What should I learn? The AI will take my job. The third one is where people are calm and have the mindset, a right mindset, I would say, where they are saying that, okay, the AI is going to make me and my company successful. I should learn that. I should invest in myself to get to with this technology. So I would suggest everybody to start learning, start adopting all these new tools, start reading about AI, get familiar with the ML, learn about data and data technologies, and get right there in the job market.
Yeah. I can see like there's a shift in the hiring processes also. Now AI, we are taking AI into consideration. So now it's good to be now us to get prepared for this upcoming change. So definitely, thank you, Shweta. Now, in terms of if you're talking about the AI versus job, my question is to Yash. Like in your view, will the demand of skilled AI engineer talent outweigh the concern about the job displacement due to automation?
Definitely. I think I when I'm envisioning AI and when I'm envisioning all the disruption that's happening, I think it's similar to a revolution. And we've seen many revolutions in the past, right? So there was the industrial revolution when before everything used to be done very manually, then machines took over. Then there was the whole digital revolution where we had computers and the internet, which was actually caused a big disruption. And then I think now we have the Gen AI and the time for AI ML to create disruptions. Even if you look at across all of these industries, so even when you go back to when the industrial revolution was happening, there would be, for example, there would be lots of people who were like stitching clothes, and then now you have a sewing machine, and those jobs have gone away. But in addition, it actually created more jobs. People started doing stuff in a more skilled jobs of people who know how to use these machines. So it's more of a job translation that's going to happen. So while some of the jobs will go away, but there will be a job transformation that's going to happen. One very interesting example is, how many of you have watched this movie called Hidden Figures? Show of hands. Oh, you guys should definitely watch that. It's a very, very nice movie. So this was, it's actually centered around the time when the moon landing was happening at NASA. And so this was around 1960s. And there was actually a job called computer. So computer was a person. And these were people because when they were doing the moon landing, they had to do thousands and thousands of calculations. So there were actually a team of people who were called computers who would actually do all the calculation for them. And then when actually computers took over, this group of people, they actually learned how to program the computers and transform their jobs. So while the job of being a computer went away, but there was a new job that got created, which was how to program and how to leverage this new computer machine in an effective manner. I think similarly is what's going to happen with AI, that some of the simpler jobs, which will actually get redundant, but then you will actually need people to train the model or to use these technologies in a more effective manner. So people just need to get better and upskill themselves and understand what is the future demand and start going towards it. Overall, I feel that with all of these technologies, jobs which require creativity, which are doing once in a time, those are the jobs which are going to become a lot more in demand. So please try to, my recommendation to all the young people out there is to try to build more and more creativity in yourself, and because those are the jobs which are going to be there for sure in the future.
Right. That means we have to like embrace the AI change and do not fear it, and it is going to be our future. So let's embrace it. Now let's shift up gear a little bit, and I want to ask a fun question in it. Like, since AI isn't something which we encounter in our workspace only, we interact with it in our day-to-day life. I would love to hear how have you used or integrate AI in your day-to-day life apart from work. So Shweta, let's start with you.
Oh, I use it very heavily. There are funny examples also. So I use AI as a buddy, as my partner during my walks. So you can give it a try. I tell my chat GPT, just listen to me and say okay. And I just keep dumping my thoughts. And then in the end, it summarizes everything and then gives me the notes, what I have said, which really brings me productivity because if I'm engaging in the conversations like this, if I have to design any PPT, if I have to do something, I just dump everything and the summarization, and I ask it to refine it later on. Sometimes if I have to prepare any documents for my team, I just dump my thoughts. I say, okay, put it in a structure. And it gives it very nicely headlines and the summaries and everything. And for the recent document, I was so surprised. It gave me, I was writing this OpMac talk. I told him I need this day, these meetings. It gave me the full table structure. So I was like, okay, thank God. So I love it. And then while coming back from office, if I'm tired, I usually get a lot of Slack and WhatsApp. I just use that audio to text feature to write most of my messages. I just use audio to text and write it is not perfect all the time, but I think it is learning. So even for my Hindi slangs or the words, if I'm misspelling, it does correct it all right. So it is, I believe, it is an Einstein in your pocket. It's up to you how you use it or where you want to leverage it. I am using it very heavily.
So next time I got a text from you, I have to be sure it's AI or you.
Yeah, it is my words, but written by AI. That's for sure.
Okay. Sridevi?
How I use AI. So, yeah, so there are two main things I use AI in my daily life. One is, I think faster than my writing skills. So it's very difficult for me to keep pace and I make a lot of spelling mistakes. So I love the fact that AI can prompt the sentence for me and I get the writing is as fast as my thinking. So I really like that aspect. So I use that a lot. The other thing is I work in a company which is headquartered in Germany. So I sometimes tend to get a lot of dump in German. So the PPTs are written in German or the Word documents are written in German. Some of the manuals are written in German. And there is nobody who works as a translator in the company. So we do use a lot of these translation services of AI to be able to understand what has been written. And these are written by people 30 years ago because they have worked in the plant, have written the processes of the plant in German. And that know-how is very, very critical to be able to build the solutions that we are making for efficiency of the processes. So it's important for us to be able to understand it very well. And that's why the translation helps me quite a bit.
Right. Yes.
There are actually two interesting use cases. I think earlier in the year, we did a family trip to Hong Kong. I have two young kids. So they and us both wanted them to see and experience Disneyland. And that's a very large theme park. And we were there and we were in Hong Kong for a couple of days. So historically, how I would have gone about planning for the trip would have been do a lot of research, read like tons of TripAdvisor reviews, read reviews about the park, etc., and then try to create an itinerary. And then even after you go, you find out, okay, there are lots of things which you realize after you've been at the trip, right? So this time it was very cool. I wrote on the LLM that, actually I used ChatGPT for this. So I just wrote on ChatGPT that I'm going to Hong Kong from this date to this date. My flight lands at this time. I'm flying back to Bangalore on this date. These are the things I want to visit. Please make me an itinerary. And that was the itinerary we followed. And what was very surprising is that even for like the rides in Disneyland, it actually gave me a plan. Like you go to this ride in the morning because there is less. These are more popular rides, so it's better to do these in the morning. Do these during the daytime because this is inside enclosed environment, so you'll not have the sun. And these are the ones you do in the evening. So it was just fascinating. And after that, there's no looking back. Every trip I do, I actually am using ChatGPT or one of the LLMs for that. The other project which I'm working on is, so my mom, she is in the senior WhatsApp groups. So she likes to send some of these good morning messages. So now I'm actually writing a bot which will generate these images and send one unique image to her every day so she can send to all of her friends.
That's really innovative.
So,
But the itinerary part, even I can add to it. It goes into detail. I just went on a trip with another colleague of mine, and we were two different personalities. And she asked for itinerary with the Chat GPT. We planned the day, and then she used to customize it. Okay, maybe more shopping places, less zoos, less libraries, and all those things. And it just refines it beautifully. But the good morning one is really good.
so thank you for sharing your personal experiences with AI. It's fascinating how AI is being integrated and now it's part of our day-to-day life. And now I'd like to open the floor to our audience if they have any questions and they can pass on to our panelists based on the AI. This is your chance. Yeah.
While we are using AI, at the same time, we are giving a lot of data to the. While we are using the AI, we are giving a lot of data about us to the public domain, right? So, have you ever felt that something, your personal data, is leaked somewhere, or this kind of thing should not be done using AI so far? Because you said your travel details also, right? Sometimes it
Let
could
me
be a
just
risky
rephrase
one.
that. If I understand, hello, yeah. If I understand, the question is that when you're using AI and when you're giving the prompts, that data may be used for training the model again, or that data may surface somewhere. Is that a question? Yeah. And so, how do you deal with that? Or so there are a couple of things which you can do. For example, I know that on ChatGPT there is actually an enterprise plan. And there you can actually have an option saying, whatever I'm doing, please don't use this for training data. So that is one option, and of course, you're paying for the tool, so they will adhere to that. The other thing you can do is, you may not need like a very complex LLM model all the time. So you can take some of the smaller models. For example, Facebook has open source Llama, so you can actually run Llama locally on your computer. I actually do that. And so since it's running locally, then you're sure that nothing is actually going out anywhere. So it will just run everything locally. So that's one. Sridevi?
No, I think you said it. Yeah. So, like he said, I think if you're using anything within the organization or the enterprise licensed versions, you can always have it secure. But if you are using open source, there is no way to protect your data. It will be used for retraining the model.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Any other question we have?
Hi, is it working? Yeah, so I'm audible, right? So as we are talking about AI and how we are using it in our day-to-day life in terms of work as well. So one question is, let's say as a developer, we use AI for, let's say, ChatGPT or Copilot we are using, but at the same point of time, somewhere if we are getting too much habituated to the way of using AI every day in our work, so our efforts or our knowledge as in terms of a personal way, like as in a developer front, gets reduced because we are getting much more dependent on AI. But with that being said, at the same point of time, like the way Akansha said, that the hiring process is still the same. We have to prove ourselves on a lot of coding platforms, a lot on the code front as well. So how do we make it a balance? Like, what is the balance front on that? Because it somewhere it helps us, but at the same point of time, it pulls down individual effort as a developer as well.
Yeah, so to answer your question, I don't know if you heard Sundar Pichai recently said that 25% of coding in Google is now being done by AI. So there is a job shift and we should all embrace that. So eventually there are newer types of requirements that will come. So I'm hoping HR people are listening that they should not test you on coding anymore. They should test you on other skills. But it's a evolution. So eventually the number of jobs for developers will be lower, for sure. But there is newer areas that will open up. So the higher amounts of data that we're using, the higher number of jobs in data security that will open up, cyber security that will open up. So those are the skills that will be newer skills that you'll have to look to gain in the future. So, yeah.
I think some of the requirements in the interview also will change. For example, if you, I think if you just dial back, probably like 30, 40 years back, people would be asking questions on maybe like, how good are you on typing? Can you type a report? Those things are not there anymore, right? So people assume that you will actually use some of the online editing tools, or you would use the spreadsheets, etc., to get this done. So, so I think the industry will change. The type of questions will change. But I think what you've said is a very, very important thing to remember as an individual. I actually also face the same with my team. So our team uses, we use Copilot. And I'm actually, in the back of my mind, I always feel that I don't want everyone to be so dependent on it that if this is not there, or they're not able to work without it. So I think that some of it is also discipline. You have to kind of keep going back to your roots to ensure that the fundamentals are clear to you. And yeah, I think it's more of a discipline thing, in my view.
I think AI is not going to take away your logical thinking and problem solving skills. It can write code, but you still have to tell it what to write. That time is a little far where it will be able to solve everything, where you're just thinking and it will solve. You can tell the problem, but how perfectly it will solve, that's going to take some time. And like both the co-speakers said very rightly, you have to create a balance. Yes, you have to use or start using AI wherever the automation, repetitive work, whatever repetitive work which you were doing until now, all those will go away. For example, the leaders used to ask for reports and all the data. Now they will be able to pull it up all by themselves in a couple of seconds. So those jobs will go. But I would encourage everyone to focus on strategic learning, where you are focused more on how the problem should be addressed, what the problem is, and thinking end to end, so that you can use the AI for your betterment, use it as your power that, okay, I am going to tell this is how this code should be, this is the structure should be, these kind of validations should be there, and then it writes for you. So that would be the ideal situation to be there.
Sorry, I just remembered one more thing. This is also one area where Copilot or any of these tools are really helpful. Because a lot of times you also learn from, so for example, one of the advantages of doing peer reviews is that people learn the best practices from others as well. So on the positive side, if Copilot or any of these automation tools is actually writing some code for you, some of that may actually be in a better, maybe structured or formatted better than what you were thinking about. So that's also a way to improve your own skills as well.
Okay, since we are running out of time, so I would like to summarize our discussions. Like we discussed about the future of how we envision the future, the challenges we face during on the data, the ethics on remote, and about the job insecurity we have, everybody have right now is a major concern. So I think it's more, AI has a tremendous potential, and one thing is like we have to embrace AI. And I think the audience would have some takeaways from this amazing session. And I would like to thanks to our panelists for sharing their invaluable time and the values. So thank you.
Please do watch the movie. It's very cool. Hidden Figures.
I'd like to thank the panel once again, and request Monica Dok to please come forward and present a small token of our appreciation to our panelists. We'd like to once again take
we combat. New gen in the face, we about that. Me plus we see the future, gonna get that. 10 toes in, can you feel that, feel that, feel that? Any time of the day, better make way when we pull up. On a new wave when I come up. We got the high-end product, get the conduct. Business, professional, body, phenomenal. Built in a way unstoppable. Our MO, incomparable. The style, the skill, impeccable. You know that's what we do. We about to turn it up a notch. Better not be confused. No,
I'd like to take this time to thank Yash, Sridevi, Shweta, and Akanksha once again for that brilliant panel discussion on the topic Future of AI Industries at the Transformation Cusp. With that, we've come to the end of